Okay. Now we can talk. All right, this is Car Policy, and today we have a special guest. Cleo's here with us today. Cleo the dog.
Cleo the
Actually,
dog.
Cleo's pretty much the perfect dog.
She really
And
is.
We
So,
wrote a song about her once.
That's true. That's true. You can find it on TikTok.
Yeah, where do people get to hear this song?
It's called
about?
Cleo the Perfect Dog.
Yes, she
it's
is.
on TikTok. On if you search at Sammy Boy, SammyBoii.
Yep.
Two
This
eyes,
is Sammy
right?
Boy, by
How's
the
it going,
way.
guys?
Is it two eyes?
Two eyes.
Yeah. So if you
Yeah.
just look there aren't many posts.
No.
Just one of the more recent ones, you'll see us doing
A beautiful
kind of-
song.
A beautiful song of
like
Cleo
an
the perfect dog.
unintentionally kind of gospel style.
Yes. Yes.
It just happened that way, and it was
Some
all
songs
about
just
her.
write themselves.
It's true. She's a dog that just likes to nap, hang out, get cuddles, and just chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're lucky to have her here
Thank you for joining us, Cleo.
as her owner is
Thank you for
currently
joining
in
us,
Italy.
Cleo.
Italy, Rome, Italy. Having a time. Having a time.
But actually,
Traveling the world, though, that's pretty cool.
traveling the world is cool.
Yeah. You love to travel, I know. You're a big traveler.
Yeah.
Like, you are definitely the most traveled out of both Colin and I. I know we've
Well,
been to
it's
our
just
own
been
places, but
it's been a huge part of my life.
Yeah.
But
being
you know,
a military bride and everything, too.
yeah, it's just I didn't really have a choice. That's how I was raised, and so traveling was just in the soul. In fact, I'm actively right now trying not to travel. It's actually a bit. I would even call it a bit of an addiction.
For
is
sure.
being on airplanes, in airports, going places, because I always have that that feeling of it's easier to do business if you're in person with somebody. But back in 2021. It was for a totally different reason. So actually, this is a really cool story. Is that I remember? I think it was Sam and Colin, or maybe it was just you. But in the early days, that we had just come up with Mint, the whole concept of it as a company in March of 2021. And you were saying, Brian, you should film social media content. You should
Yeah.
film TikToks.
Yeah, both Colin and I were all about we got to share your
Post,
passion
post.
about it and just kind of get it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I remember pushing up against it, and I didn't want to do it.
Well, to be fair, it was something that
It's scary.
you thought it's definitely very scary to get in front of the camera, and
Yeah.
it was something that he had he thought it was nerdy, thought it wasn't cool, so
A subject matter that's nerdy. Yeah.
embarrassing for sure.
Embarrassing.
Yeah.
Well, I just hated the idea that I would all of a sudden be pigeonholed into something and to
Sure.
be known for something.
Sure.
And I didn't want to be on the camera. I wanted to be behind the camera.
Yeah.
So I wanted to film stuff, but I didn't want it to be me that was being filmed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
no,
so
I get it.
I remember you guys were telling me every few days, Brian, you should really film something. You should film something. And I was like, okay, I'll do it one of these days. And then you just came in my room one day and you said, all right, we're filming something. We're filming something right now. And I hadn't showered. I just kind of just gotten up, was sitting at my desk, and I was all disheveled. And I had a 86 Don Russ Jose Canseco card on my desk, and I had a Beckett sitting there. And you just said, great, just talk about your card, talk about why you like it. And so I probably talked for maybe a minute or two, and then you edited it,
Yep.
put it up on TikTok.
I think you got 20,000 views overnight, and that was extremely it really gave us the fuel to be okay, this thing has legs, Brian.
That was insane though when that first happened,
It was
because
really
I think overnight it was 20,000, and then
Yeah.
it went up to 37,000.
Yeah.
Over the the days following that,
For sure.
I think now it's 40,000 or so just on that first post.
I couldn't tell you.
I can't remember,
yeah.
but I remember it was just such a casual post, and we were all blindsided by people actually watched that.
Not just watched it, but resonated with it. There are so many comments just from people that obviously you didn't know that were
That
reaching
was
out
wild.
and saying I think the same thing too about that card and stuff like that. So
Yeah, you just don't think as a grown man in his 40s that I would post something on a TikTok account and that people would actually watch it.
and then it sparked just continuing to post and I wonder what would have happened if
we didn't do it,
well, not so much if we didn't do it, but if that first post
Hadn't
didn't
have
do
done well.
would we have?
it would have taken you and me a lot more convincing of
It
Brian
would
to
have.
stay with it.
I wonder where we would
Because
be
it was
today.
still so
Yeah.
early in the TikTok thing that there was so much organic reach to be had still, and that consistency would have won out eventually anyway.
For sure.
because it definitely made me feel uncomfortable at first, and I thought I had to make it into this whole big production, and so I think
When
the next
quite the opposite is what is actually
Well,
appreciated
yeah.
more.
That's true. I remember we set up your background. We had like all these boxes all lit
Like
up,
a talk show.
backlit. Yeah, everything like that.
Yeah, we
It was
made a
crazy.
set, essentially.
Yeah,
A little
essentially.
set.
and all the set was is all my favorite
fun.
boxes from the 80s.
You had your shoes,
Shoes
and your jerseys,
Jordans, the jerseys.
Yeah, cards laid out.
And
it was fun.
yeah, and I remember I think it was the second post was like about like Mark McGuire or Nolan Ryan or whatever. And I think it was like the third or fourth post where we talked about Ken Griffey Jr.
Yes.
And I remember that it got like immediately like 100,000 views, just like that overnight.
Yeah.
And it just blew my mind.
We were walking out of the Dave and Buster's from your buddy Nate's birthday party.
Yeah,
I believe
that's what it was.
and we're like looking. We're like, whoa,
100,000
yeah.
people.
We were like freaking out. It was cool. It was such a good feeling.
It was so weird though.
Yeah, definitely.
And then the comments just started just streaming in of all these people that were like, wow, this really connects with me. This reminds me of my childhood or whatever. And we're just like, I think we're doing something that people connect with because there's already a bunch of card accounts out there. And people are telling us that it was a very unique way of storytelling. And in the early days, we were also trying to make it way more structured. I think there was almost like a script.
Yeah, there were scripts
There would be times
in 100 takes.
where so we filmed everything mostly in Brian's room, and there'd be times where it got a bit hot because
Did
we
we
were
not-
in there for hours, literally filming a 30-second TikTok.
But did we not think that you can just do chunks at a time and then cut and then so
I was
where there
trying
was
to
no
do-
memorization? Or?
Every single time I was trying to do the whole thing in one take.
Yeah, that's the that we didn't know that. Yeah, you couldn't go in. I don't know if TikTok. I don't know if TikTok
We were
had
filming.
editing.
We were filming on the app of TikTok at the time, and we were just so new.
Yeah.
None of us have been
Yeah,
involved in any
right.
sort of
Right.
social media before. We were so green to
didn't-
everything, and now we're, it's a little
Still
bit different. Oh, no. Actually, that's a good point.
If
Very-
anyone claims they
learning
know
every
everything,
day.
if anyone claims they know everything about any subject, don't believe them.
Man, I'm so like I know I've been
Amen.
working in social media for what 4 years now.
4 years.
I'm so green still. So much to learn.
Yeah.
I feel like a newbie.
I am
truly.
very pleased now that I'm not memorizing things.
Oh my gosh.
I think it took like a month before we, maybe 3 months.
Well,
until
there's so like you're memorizing things, but now you've just become so comfortable with being on camera where you don't.
Yeah,
have
I
to
just don't even
memorize
thi- I
and
don't
you
think
just
about it
go
anymore.
Off the top of your
yeah,
head.
it's always off the top of my
is
head
nice.
now. And we don't do anything in multiple takes anymore.
No.
It's just, but in that first one, I remember it was like week number 2 or 3 of doing this.
Yeah.
And there was one night where you were gone and Colin was there trying to like get me to memorize, we had the script for Ricky Henderson. It was a Ricky Henderson post. And there was like 2 lines that were really hard to say. They were like alliterations or some sort of a tongue twister.
Yeah.
And I remember I just couldn't get it.
Yeah.
And then Colin was like, hey man, I got to go out. I'm going to like a movie or something. And all of a sudden there I'm in my room and I just dedicated to, I'm posting this today. And I think it's just a ridiculous number of takes. And I actually started getting really
I remember
frustrated.
this, yeah.
I get it, man.
And I'm trying to be
were
positive.
looking- We were looking
Getting really
into-
frustrated.
Well, it's so funny. We're talking about cards, and we're like, "Oh, I can't get it right." But we were looking into buying a prompter for you.
Yeah, we were looking at a teleprompter because we
we
didn't know
did.
what we're doing.
I think
had
we
no idea what
played
we were
with some apps that
Yeah,
had
there were the apps.
That's right. That's right.
the scrolling.
Yeah,
words.
that's.
And then what
right.
changed everything is that I had this idea because I was sick of being in West Hollywood. We were living in West Hollywood and it was, pandemic. This is peak COVID time. We had our COVID testing company going and it was just kind of autopilot at that point for the thing. And I didn't want to grow that company anymore. I just wanted it to kind of just maintain. And I wanted to do Mint. Mint, as soon as Mint came along, that was it for me. I didn't want to do anything else.
You didn't care.
I didn't care at all about anything anymore outside of Mint when it came to business. And so I think I said to you guys, I said, I don't want to spend money on rent in West Hollywood living here under total lockdown when I can take the money I'd spend and go on a road trip around the United States.
Well, it was actually more than that. More than just that. It was you were looking at the landscape of content out there, and it was
right.
always people behind a desk, usually just their hands. There wasn't any real character
high
or
production value.
even more than high production value. Like there was no heart to the content that was being put out
Or
there,
variety.
or variety or adventure. So Brian's like, shoot, like cards are so
experimentation.
cool. Like we should combine cards with our favorite things. And
That's what it was.
and so like, Brian's like, okay, we're going on a big road trip across the country to film
We're going to call it Adventure Rips.
Adventure Rips. That's right. That was the working title.
Is that I just had this idea. I was sick of watching people sit behind desks,
Yeah.
rip packs, breakers, ripping packs, and I just thought it was so boring.
Yep.
And I'm like, what if you were to like rip a pack in a nightclub? What if you ripped a pack at a concert or?
Well, how did you kick it off?
And so that was the main idea is like, how do we kick this thing off? And we had done a television show pilot a couple of years before that, several years before that, where we had the main characters jump off the mountain in Malibu with going paragliding. And so the idea was, why don't we copy some of the things from our pilot and replace the actors that we're using with us?
And just to give people an idea of what the pilot was about having a competition to essentially have the best possible day in a certain location. So we were doing some really fun things like paragliding.
Yeah, so we made a date. We called up Clyde in Malibu.
Claude. That's right.
So we
that's
called
right.
up Claude in Malibu.
What a G.
What a,
What a guy.
You can look him up now. I'm sure he's still doing it.
Oh, I'm sure.
no, Claude will be
Malibu
doing this for the next
paragliding.
100 years.
100%.
And so the three of us drove out to Malibu, and I also I thought in order for people to want to follow this, so essentially I wanted to travel around the country, ripping really cool packs, finding key cards, not doing it at a desk, but doing it in really special circumstances all over the country. And then I wanted to do it all over the world, but the first few months was all over the country. Let's try to find the key component of that quest was let's find the Derek Jeter rookie card out of a box of 93 SP. And then as kind of two side quests, let's find the Mike Trout rookie card and the Shohei Ohtani rookie card.
Crazy that was a side
Huge.
quest. So expensive.
So expensive. My
What were you
gosh.
thinking, Brian?
I was
No,
an idiot. No, I was an idiot. I spent so much money on
It
those
was
boxes.
fun. It was fun.
And this is back when SP was selling for $5,000 a box.
It was at the peak of all peaks.
peak. $5,000 a box for that, and a hobby box of 2011 Topps Update for Mike Trout rookie was selling for $7,000 and $8,000 a box.
Louise.
And so I bought a box of each, and then I also bought a Shohei Ohtani, which was only $1,000 at the time. Which is funny because that's the only box that's increased, and the other two have dropped dramatically.
I wonder why. Especially the Jeter.
Dramatically.
Interesting.
So yeah, you can buy a box of SP now for $2,000.
Wow.
But back then they were selling for $5,000. And so I bought a box of that, bought a box of the Trout, bought a box of the Ohtani. Actually, and the three of us went out to Malibu Mountain, strapped the parachute on our backs, and we
Had GoPros. We had a drone. We had a phone recording. We had a low production value, but as best as we could do it as just a little
it
crew.
looked so good.
It was fun.
So we went
Yeah.
paragliding while ripping expensive packs
in the air.
in the air.
Crazy.
I think it was the same location we had filmed from during the pilot.
Yeah, it's the exact same spot.
4 years earlier.
Yeah.
So the memories kind of bleed into one for me because it was, again, a drone operator that we hired in 2017, but it was you, right? In 2021.
Yeah.
Similar kind of day,
Never
beautiful
flown
day.
a drone before.
But I also that's the thing how I am though is I was going to be on camera doing the whole thing, but I was like I want the guys to be able to do this too.
Yeah.
And so I made sure that all three of us went paragliding. In fact, you're the one that took it to the beach, right?
Oh, I was very lucky because I was the guy,
end.
filming everyone do it first, and so you said I could go
yeah.
last or whatever.
So I wanted you to go to last,
and then
so that you could take the paraglide all the way back down to the beach.
well, we didn't know that at the time.
That was awesome. though.
It was incredible. Running on the beach, landing on the beach.
Is that
like
when we also had our epic McDonald's, or was that another?
I think it was another time.
Okay.
Malibu
has the best McDonald's in the world.
I hate McDonald's.
But you do like that one.
You enjoyed it.
You
that
enjoyed
day.
it. Don't.
Yeah, I know.
don't,
No,
don't,
I'm
you were
saying like
East
the
Coast
last
on that
3
day.
or 4 times I've had McDonald's consistently, it's been terrible.
I
Like
do agree.
and it's been at different locations around the country, and
It's
they've all
dropped.
been bad.
It's dropped.
I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is either, and I still crave it, and I
okay.
don't know why. It's
Okay.
But then we post this video of the paragliding, and I remember people just were like, "Wait, what is this?" And I wanted it to be able to kick off the big trip. And then it was like a couple days later, I went to a big concert at the Hollywood Bowl, and I took packs, and my sister filmed me. I was front row of the whole concert at the Hollywood Bowl, and ripped some packs, and so it just kind of kicked everything off. And then I had just endless amounts of ideas that were popping in my head. And it was
just like any fun thing that you like to do, just incorporate opening a pack of cards
Yeah.
with. Going on a boat ride through the Everglades and
the bayou,
and opening packs. Gosh, what
Oh,
are
that's
some
what
other
it was.
ones?
Top of
We
a
had bought-
skyscraper.
Oh yeah,
we
yeah.
had bought the Jeter box and the Trout box with the idea of this is going to be the quest. And then I remember I was like, before we, head out on the road, let's go to Pink's Hot Dogs and order some chili dogs. But we're like, let's go and stop by Beverly Hills baseball cards right beforehand. Walked in and I asked the guy if he had the Otani box. And I bought one. Then we went straight to Pink's, ripped a couple packs, and I was like, okay, now we're doing this too. So I was trying to really make this adventure rips thing across the country as fun as possible, where I genuinely was looking for these 3 cards. I wanted to find the SP
Of course.
Jeter, I wanted to find the Trout, and I
course.
wanted to find the Otani. Whereas like quests that I do now is I like finding those cards for the audience. I already have all those cards. So like, when I find like a 1990 Upper Deck Dave Justice card, I want the audience to have the experience of finding those cards. So a lot of times people write me and they're like, oh, you're looking for the Tony Gwynn card. Let me send you a bunch of them, or let me send you ones.
Well, that's not what a quest is.
That's not what the quest is about. It's not about me owning the card. It's about
finding
finding it, and it's about the audience getting a chance to, like, we're all doing it together.
Absolutely.
I want them to find the card. And then any card from the quest, we're giving them away in our hobby cases. So if I get the Tony Gwynn card, it's going right back out in a hobby case away to somebody.
Yeah. How long were we on the road for in total?
4 months.
4 months on the road.
October, November, December. No, 3 months. Was it? 3 or 4?
It was 3 or 4, right?
Yeah, it was long.
It was a long time.
3
so
months.
we hopped out of the apartment, and then after that, where did you live after that? Where did you move to after that?
It's a horrible question.
I legitimately can't remember.
You mean when we got back from the massive quest?
I'm actually blanking out.
The Jeter quest?
Yeah.
January of 2022?
Yeah. Oh no.
No, I think that's. Oh man, I'm gonna have to go look at the journal.
Okay, fair enough. We'll go to the journal for that
We got to
one.
refer to the journal, but I
fair
think.
enough.
But essentially, I was on the road for the next 2 years.
2 years. That's right.
Yeah, I didn't move into a place.
Yeah.
Until we moved here, which was 1 year ago,
Why?
because I had too much to do. I'd work all over the country. I was flying to New York. I was flying to London. I was flying to Florida, flying to Los Angeles. And so I wanted to be wherever I needed to be. And so I remained entirely mobile for like 2 years.
Crazy.
Crazy. No, entirely crazy. Who does that?
Not many people.
Not many. So I just felt like, being a guy with zero commitments as far as I, didn't have a relationship, and didn't have, don't have kids. And so I was like, what my baby is at this time is Mint, and I want to get Mint to the moon, right? So how do I do that? Well, I have to be wherever it takes to make this company work. And so I thought if I just got a place and I sat in a place, then it would restrict me from being able to do what I needed to do. And also I was going to a lot of games. I was going to a lot of card shops. So the idea was to be as mobile as possible.
Keep it flexible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a huge risk. I mean, most people don't leave their apartments to move around the country to go and rip packs.
But we had
and do their-
mitigated the risk to the best of our ability because the COVID testing business was it had kind of plateaued, but it was still ongoing. So we kind of made a deal where it's like, okay, you guys are going to see this thing through on the road. I'm going to stay back and see this thing through here.
Yeah.
And then whenever the thing comes to an end, which we were working towards and expecting, frankly, because it was a business made on the heels of a pandemic, that whenever that would occur, we would then combine forces again in full force and then pick up where we are, and hopefully it's at a level that's further progressed.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately what did happen.
That's
For sure.
exactly what happened. And now we're here in Huntington Beach, California, moved into a place almost exactly a year ago, and plan on leaving roots here for a long time. And now I don't feel the need to go and travel the country because I feel like everything that really needs to be done here.
For sure. Absolutely. And those 2 years that you were on the road for, mobile, very flexible, what would you say are the biggest cons of being on the road for that long, and the pros.
Oh, the biggest con.
I know
Yeah.
the biggest con right now. And I wasn't
know
even
it.
on the road with you. I was on the road with you less than half the time intermittently, and I already know what the biggest
You
con
can
is.
think about it. You can think.
I
about
already
it.
know.
Brian.
Oh, the biggest con for me is that nobody wants to do this with me. That's the hardest thing. Like Sam came out by far and away. Like Colin was probably on the road with me a tenth of the time.
Yeah.
But Sam was on the road with me for probably half the time. And Sam's more of a, you enjoy having a place and having
I'm
your
a normal
life, and
person.
you're yeah,
I'm a normal-
no,
I'm a
you
normal
guys are the
person.
normal people.
I'm a normal person.
I'm the odd duck. And
Yeah,
so it's hard to find people that actually want to do what I want to do, which is
Live out of a suitcase.
live out of a
Also,
suitcase. Very good.
It's true. Living out of a suitcase and also knowing when the end date is. When you don't know when the end date is, that tunnel looks very long.
No, mad props to Sam for having the patience to go on that 3-month road trip with me.
3 to 4.
3 to 4. Yeah.
And it was open ended. It was not. I was not told it was 3 months.
No, we went on the road and I was like, we're going to go out on the road and find these cards.
I'm like, okay.
And next
2
thing
weeks
you
go
know,
by. Okay, well, this is pretty. It's pretty long.
pretty long.
long.
And I was just like gearing up.
Oh no, of course.
I could have done that for a year, straight up for
No,
a
of
year.
of course.
And, but it was funny because we were like, all of a sudden we're going from Los Angeles, we're in Arizona, we're in New Mexico, up to Utah. We thought we were going to go meet up with Del Murphy, so we changed the trip to go up meet there.
Yeah.
Then we're hopping back down into like Oklahoma and Texas, and we weren't finding the cards we were looking for. And so we just kept going. By the time we were finished, we went to 30 states.
Yep.
I think it was 8,000 miles I put on my car.
Only?
Oh, no, probably more than that.
Yeah.
It had to have been more than
Way
that.
more. Yeah.
But I put a lot of miles on that poor little car. And we finally found the Derek Jeter rookie card. It took, 2 boxes? 3 boxes? 2.5 boxes.
2.5 boxes.
To finally find him. And it was in Washington, D.C.,
Yeah.
by the Washington Monument of the Washington Hotel is where we finally found it. That story is another time.
Yeah,
The
okay, well,
painful story.
Man, it is.
No,
a tough,
we can't
you
tell
wanna
that story.
tell that
right
story?
now. No, I don't want
okay,
to tell that one.
okay. It's a great. I hate saying, "Oh, it's a great story." We're not going to talk about it.
No,
but
that-
we won't talk
Wait,
about
That
it
deserves
at the
its own.
restaurant?
at the restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucked, but that's
Yeah.
okay. One story we will tell, if you don't mind me saying,
Sure,
is
sure.
you when I left after the road trip was done, and you drove back, and you had another box.
Oh yeah, that was so funny.
You were stopped at the gas station
That's what it was. Is I had one more box
of SP.
of SP, and it took us like 2.5 boxes to finally find it, or something like that.
And any card collector likes to open packs of cards by themselves, no camera on. You know,
Yeah.
just enjoy
I had
that
a
process.
handful of packs left, or something like that.
Yep.
And I remember I was at some gas station in Carlsbad, California. And I was by myself, and I was looking at the packs that were sitting there. They're last packs from the third box. You guys, this is true love, by the way.
Yeah, Cleo's
Colin and Cleo is
sucking
true
up
love
right now. I love it.
And but I remember
I was about to say something really inappropriate. We're gonna keep it there.
Good
I,
man.
I
good
think
man.
it was 3 packs left in that final box, or something like that.
Only
And
3 boxes,
I
okay.
can't remember. There was just a few.
Sure.
And so I was like, I'm gonna rip these while I'm pumping gas, and I ripped the pack, and there it is, the Derek Jeter card again.
Brutal.
And I was like, where have you been this whole time? What is this? Dang. And I had my own, I had a huge celebration in the car.
No, it's funny. I feel like, if we were recording you just opening packs at the gas station, finding a Derek Jeter, that would have done way better than finding it at that hotel with the monument in the background
Yeah.
and everything.
That actually surprised me when we finally found the card. The post didn't even do very well.
It didn't do well. It didn't resonate with people.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to learn from that post.
Yeah, I think there was.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the Mike Trout post, when we did find the Mike Trout card, that
the
was
ZZ
at
Top concert.
ZZ Top concert.
That was crazy.
In Nashville
Yeah.
at the Grand Ole Opry, and I only brought, I think, 2 packs with me to that concert.
Yeah, that's right.
And I didn't expect to find it because we hadn't had any successes with it so far on the trips.
Yeah.
And then we're sitting there, we're talking to all the people around us,
Mm-hmm.
and then we rip the pack, and about halfway through the pack, boom, there's the Mike Trout. And it was like the first time we'd found a proper Quest card. And I remember just being so happy that night.
100%.
And then I bent the corner.
Nothing. Adds character to it, though. It's a special memory. So Brian's number one con was, no one wants to go on the road for like a super amount, a long time. Colin, what do you think the number one con is for being
Well,
on
it's
the
not
road
about thinking; it's knowing. That the number one con
Oh, I know what it
is-
is. Okay. I see where that's going. I see where it's going.
is it's easy. It's unhealthy eating.
There we go.
Unhealthy eating habits.
I wonder how many times we stopped at Taco Bell. How many times we stopped at Arby's? How many times we're like Dairy Queen today?
It's just a shame. It's like every
Brutal.
pit stop you go, it's just, I mean, nothing is
I
food.
like fast food.
it's exciting.
Nothing is food.
No.
It was
It's-
all food and it was amazing. I love all of it, and
we
I don't
both-
regret a single
We
second.
both gained a substantial amount of weight on it. No,
But we had a great time.
we had a great time. It's so funny though when you look at pictures of
The before and after of the
before
trip.
and after the trip.
Oh, you're right. We
and,
did.
and since that day, we both haven't been able to get back to our base.
Wow. You're right. That was.
It's
we've
actually
never
permanently
recovered.
affected.
It's
We've never
permanently
recovered.
Irreparable
Effective.
damage.
Yeah.
Genuinely,
Yeah.
we had to put in some major work to get.
Yeah,
back
we
to
did go through that Wendy's run for a while.
Yeah.
Taco Bell was definitely the headquarters of it.
Yeah, I was around 100 and I'm 5'9". I was around 195 pounds. I now sit at 180, 83, and as my base, I used to be 175, 170. But
Yeah, you're right. We ate really bad on that trip.
amount
It
of-
was so easy to eat bad on that
Is
trip.
this the 16th episode of this podcast? How many times has the word Taco Bell been said?
Sorry, my bad. That's
I
me.
mean, oh my God.
No,
You guys
it's
are
become
obsessed.
it's become a theme.
It is a theme. We should get sponsored.
We
by
should
Taco
be
Bell, actually.
sponsored by Taco
I
Bell.
love Crunchwrap Supremes.
So
we should
good.
get some.
No,
We
man.
should get
So
some.
good.
There's a new
Grills.
item there that's blown my mind, and it's the street chalupas.
Really?
Oh my goodness!
Here we go.
They're the
Here
best.
we go.